Hello, I'm so excited to show you how to use your new Seint makeup. And this video is going to be all about showing you how to apply your Seint IIID Foundation, different ways to apply it, and how to set up your compact. So, if you don't know me, my name's Holly Caldwell. I'm a Seint artist. I'm a mom of two, and I absolutely love showing easy, simple makeup tips. So make sure you give me a follow or subscribe, and thank you for being here. So first things first, you are going to get your makeup, and this video is going to be more tailored towards the people who have already purchased their Seint makeup. So if you haven't, or if you want to try it, you can just click on my website, which is hollycaldwellbeauty.com, to get a free match to your custom palette that I'm going to be talking about through this video. So for those of you who have your makeup, you are going to get a box that looks something like this in the mail. So beautiful. I absolutely love the packaging. Packaging is all 100% recyclable, and you're going to want to make sure you get all the paper out and find your little tins, which are going to look something like this. And you can just slide them out by pushing your thumb under here to get the tins out. And then you can take your compact, and this is what your tins are going to go inside of. So I already have my palette set up. So we're going to be working out of that. But you want to make sure that you have all the right colors and everything that you ordered. And then you're going to just take your brush out of the packaging, which I already have my brush. So we're all good to go. So this is the palette I'm going to be working out of. It is the 3D Palette 12. You can see it has 2 layers, and I have several different face colors in the top layer. So I have 3 different highlight shades. This is going to be a camo shade, which you may or may not have, and it's okay if you don't have one. My main highlight shade, which is basically going to act like my foundation. This is the color that matches your overall skin tone. If you remember from your color match email, I listed out what each highlight is for. And then this is a pop highlight, which is generally going to be 1 to 2 shades lighter than your main highlight shade. So make sure you're not getting these confused. And then this is my contour shade, and then these 2 right here are actually going to be a fun bronzer cocktail that I like to use. It's Glow Illuminator and Bella Bronzer, and I kind of just mix the 2 together. I'll show you what I mean. And then on the bottom layer here, these are kind of considered your extras, but I have, and this changes all the time, I'm always showing, you know, different lip and cheek colors, different eyeshadows and things. So I definitely have a lot more colors than this, and there's so many different lip and cheek options from Seint. But these are the colors I have in here right now. So this is Frenchy Lip and Cheek and Angel Illuminator. And then I just have a couple eyeshadows over here, and then this is our Vanilla Dust setting powder. So I have literally everything for my entire face. Besides lashes, that's the only thing that doesn't fit in this compact. Every single thing I need is right here. Every single thing you need is right here. So we are going to get started. A couple of things before we actually apply the makeup. You want to make sure that you're always applying your makeup on clean, hydrated skin. So if you don't have a proper skincare routine, I know for a lot of my life, I was just using like baby wipes and seriously can't even tell you what a game changer a actual skincare routine makes in your makeup application, because it doesn't really matter what makeup you use if you're not having proper hydrated skin and clean skin. It's just not going to lay right on your skin. So let me know if you need details about Seint's skincare line. It's amazing. It's totally changed my skin, and it completely has boosted my confidence. So at the very minimum, you're going to want a good moisturizer. This is the moisturizer I use. It's the Seint Milk Cream, and I already applied this about 10 minutes ago, and that gives it just plenty of time to absorb into the skin before you go in and apply makeup. So usually in the morning I will apply my moisturizer, and then I'll go and like brush my teeth or do my hair or something, and then I'll come back and do my makeup, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how that works. So you want to make sure you're moisturized. And then another thing that I really like to do when I want my makeup to just last all day and look really fresh is I take our Perfector sponge. This is a damp one, so I got this all the way wet underneath the sink, and you want to completely squeeze it out several times. And then you're going to squeeze it all the way out to get all the water out, and then you're going to squeeze it out again into a towel and really get all the excess water out so that you're just left with a damp, squishy sponge. And we're going to use this in the beginning of our makeup routine and the end. Okay, so if you don't have this, it's totally okay, just something to add to your wish list. And we are going to take the Seint setting spray, which is right here, and we are just going to do some sprays on here and put this on our face. So this setting spray acts as a 2-in-1 primer and setting spray. So it's designed to really just give your makeup a good grip and adhere to your skin better, and like I said, wear better throughout the day and last longer. So make sure you get into all these areas. If you are doing this step, you want to make sure you get into all these little crevices and all that, and then you're good to go. If you are using some other sort of primer, that's totally fine. You just want to make sure that whatever it is you're using is not a silicone based primer, because silicone and creams do not mesh well together. So you can try it out and see if it works, and if you notice that your makeup just doesn't stay on, then it might be your primer. So just a heads up on that. Okay, so now we're ready to go. So I have my skin all prepped and hydrated. Now I'm just gonna pick up the 3D brush, and I'm gonna show you on this side of my face how to apply with a brush. So this is gonna be you just directly like patting or dabbing or whatever you want to call it into the tins, and then applying it on your skin, which is one way to apply it. And then on this side of my face, I'm going to show you the dot method, which you might have seen in some of my social media videos, or if you follow other Seint artists, it's like this viral method of applying your makeup. The best thing about this, and this is why I don't want you to get overwhelmed, is because the best thing about this makeup is there's really no right way to apply it. Like, it's all cream, so it's all going to blend together, and you don't really have to worry about like missing a step or not applying something, because you can always just go back and fix it. So yeah, okay. So here we go. I'm going to go into my main highlight shade, which I told you is this one. So I'm just going to tap in, and these tins and this brush have already been used. So I'm just going to do a couple taps, and I'm going to have all the product that I need on my brush. But when your brush is brand new out of the package and your tin is brand new out of the package, you're going to have to kind of use the brush a couple of times before you can get a proper amount of product. Like, you kind of have to wear them in a little bit, if that makes sense. So don't be surprised if your very first application with Seint makeup, you have to dab in a little bit more than you thought. That's totally, whoop, hi. Just dropped my compact. That's totally normal. And it's just something you kind of got to trust me on. I can't really explain it, but you just have to wear it in. Okay, so I tapped in a couple of times, and I'm going to do my highlight shade in my jawline and kind of like my beard area. If you think of like where a man's beard would be, it's like through here, right? So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to kind of just work it up into my under eye and just kind of do a little swoop under there. Remember that a little bit goes a very long way with this makeup. Cream makeup is all pigment, so you're not getting any like water evaporation like you do with a liquid foundation. It's all pigment, so basically what that means is just a little bit goes such a long way. So make sure you're not globbing it on. Start with a little bit, and you can always build up to the level of coverage that you want. So I'm just going in with a little bit more. I just did like 2 more taps into my main highlight shade, and I'm using the square blunt end of the 3D brush. If you don't have the 3D brush, that's okay. Just follow along with whatever brush you do have. And if you don't have a Seint brush, you're probably going to find that it's a little tricky to apply this makeup, because if you don't have a brush that's meant for cream makeup, it's probably not going to work as well. So if you're having a hard time, make sure you go grab a Seint brush. And we can always open up a rewards link for you so that you can earn free credits as well, and you can ask me about that. So now that we got our kind of under, I'm not going all the way up underneath my under eye, I'm kind of just doing like this upper cheek area, and that's for a reason. And I'm going to put a different color underneath my eye. If you don't have a pop highlight, which is this lighter, brighter one, then you can just go ahead and go all the way up underneath your eye and totally just skip the step that I just did. Okay, so then we're just going above our eyebrow, okay? So just apply it like that, and then I'm going to flip over to my contour. Like I said, I'm doing this in no particular order. So if you like to start with your contour first, go ahead and do that. Totally doesn't matter. You can see I left out my contour areas, and that was on purpose. So now I'm going to place my contour. So I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm just going to feel for the most prominent part of my cheekbone. And you're going to feel it like really prominent, and then it gets kind of squishy underneath. That's where you want to place your contour, right where it starts to get squishy, okay? So you're just going to place it like that, and just a little line, and it's okay if it looks too dark because we can always blend. You can also find where the top of your ear meets your face, and imagine that there's a line going down to the corner of your mouth, okay? So the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth, and then you just want to stop where your pupils are. So take your finger or your brush or something and go like that, and just remember you want to keep the contour on this side of your pupil. Okay, so there's just a little bit of a guideline, and then we're gonna go along the forehead. Okay, so literally just following my hairline, and it's gonna kind of make my 5 head into a 4-head. Okay, if you already have a narrow forehead, you can skip the forehead contour. And then the last place I'm going to place it is just underneath my jawline here. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my ear and just follow my jawline, okay? And then we're going to blend. So I'm just going to start blending this back. And something to keep in mind with the contour, the first time you use it, you're going to notice that the contours are a little bit more dense in texture than the highlights are. And that's on purpose, that's by design. So the contours are they're designed to stay in place on your skin and not move around at all. So they're just going to be more dense. So if you notice you have to like kind of, like I said, dig in your brush, especially that very first time, you might have to just like dig in a little bit more than you expect, and that's totally normal, and it's just part of like breaking in those tins. So if your contour doesn't look like it's going on at all, try digging in your brush, and then also you can take your finger and apply it, and I'll show you how to do that on the other side of my face, and that sometimes helps too. Okay, so now we're gonna blend it in. So you always want to blend your contour up. So you don't want to blend it down towards your jawline, because that will just drag your face down, okay? So you can use a stippling motion, which is this pressing motion, or you can use a swiping motion. You just want to use a very, very, very light hand. Don't go through and like really hardcore scrub your contour, because then that's just going to erase what you just did, and we don't want that, okay? So we just want to blur this line where the highlight meets the contour, just softly with our brush, okay? And it's not anything where if you don't blend it out all the way now, you can't do it later. Like, you can always come back later and blend more. So don't stress about it. Okay, then I'm just going to make sure that's all blended right here. And there we have it. So you can already see the difference this is making in my face. Okay, so on this side of my face, got like all sorts of redness and discoloration. Okay, uneven skin tone. And then on this side of my face, I'm having more of an even skin tone. I have dimension, I have a lifted cheekbone, and this just looks brighter and like easier to look at. So then for the next step, I'm gonna go into the pop highlight, which is that lighter, brighter highlight shade. This is also like your brightener or your concealer. And I'm just gonna pick that up with the small side, the same side I use my contour for. And I'm just gonna place this on the inner corner of my eye, okay? So you don't need to place it all the way underneath your eye. And in fact, I would say don't do that because that can lead to creasing if you put too much product, because remember, a little bit goes a long way. So I like to always tell people your tear duct and then the outer corner of your eye going up towards your temple. Okay, so I did not dip my brush again. I literally just dipped it twice, and that's as much product as I need for my under eye. If you have really, really dark under eyes and you're not getting the coverage that you want under here, we might need to add in a color correcting shade for you. And that's the beauty of this makeup, is that everything is custom. So it's really easy to add on colors, and we can always find a color that is perfect for your under eye. So be sure to reach out to me if you want that. Okay, but most of the time people's pop highlight has enough coverage. And then I'm just going to take this brush and just softly kind of squish that in, and I'm kind of bringing it down to my nose. And then up here, I'm just going to blend that in just so it's not like harsh. And then I'm just going to take whatever's left on the brush and kind of go over my eyelids, because I've got kind of some like redness and veins on my eyelid. Okay, so see what a difference that makes. It definitely like brightened up the inner corners of my eyes a ton, and it really just made me look more brightened and awake. And at this point, if you are noticing anything with your makeup, like maybe it's looking super textured, or it's making your skin look really dry, or all of your pores are all of a sudden showing a ton, then those are all signs that the highlight color is too light. So if you're noticing any of those things, reach out to me right away and let's see what we can do. You can always exchange the color if it's too light. Something you can try if you did get a darker highlight, so go look in your color match email if you don't have a camo highlight in your compact, and see if I matched you to a camo highlight. The camo highlight is always a little bit darker than your actual skin tone. So that's for a reason, because it's meant to cover redness, melasma, dark spots, things like that. And you need something dark to cover something dark. So if you're noticing the color's too light, then you might need to grab your camo shade and kind of dip into both and mix that to get your main shade. And that is something I do regularly. I don't always show it in my videos, but a lot of the times when I'm going into my main highlight shade, I'm a mix between white peach and candlelit. So I just kind of dip my brush into both sometimes when I have a lot of redness or when I've been out in the sun. And that tends to work really, really well for me. Or if I have breakouts, sometimes I will just spot treat it with this darker color. So let me know if we need to like switch up your colors a little bit and just kind of play around with it and see. Sometimes something that can happen is, even if your main highlight shade is your exact match, sometimes on that first application, you're just applying too much product. And even if a color is your exact match, if you apply it too heavily, it can sometimes look like it's not. So just keep that in mind as well. You might have the right color, you just kind of need to play around with how much to apply. So if you're noticing that it looks orange or yellow or any of those things, then that might just be a sign that you're going a little heavy with it. Okay, so now let's go to our bronzer. I'm just going to mix into both of these colors, Bella and Glow, okay? And I'm gonna place, this is kind of an extra step, so you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I really like bronzer. So I just kind of place it in this C shape on my face, and the bronzer is more sheer than the contour, so it's gonna give you more of just like a sun-kissed glow. It's not really giving me any coverage at all, it's just giving me a glow to my skin, okay? So you're just gonna place it here. If you got a bronzer, just remember that C shape, okay? And then I also like to take whatever's left on the brush and I just drag it down my neck to give my neck a little bit of color. Okay, and then if you need to clean anything up, you can just flip around the brush and clean it up. And then I'm gonna take my lip and cheek right here, same brush, okay? You shouldn't have too much product left over on your brush. And this is Frenchie, and I'm just gonna place this on the apple of my cheek. So if I turn my face sideways like this, see how this is like a protruding, how do you say that word? See how this is protruding on my face? So this is like the most prominent part of my cheek, okay? A lot of the times people smile and they apply their blush right here, which is fine. That's fine if you want to do that. But I found that applying it to the most prominent part of your cheek is more flattering and it gives you just a little bit of a lift. So that's where I like to apply my blush, okay? So I just do a little pat, pat, pat motion. And same thing with the blushes, especially if you got a glossy lip and cheek. So Frenchie is a matte. We have matte and glossy lip and cheeks from Seint. So some of them are glossy, and if you got a glossy one, there is this like clear gloss when you get a brand new tin. So you kind of have to like break through that first layer, and then you'll find that like the pigment is starting to show up. Okay, so just keep that in mind for the brand new colors as well. Okay, and everything is buildable, which is so amazing with cream makeup. So you can just go in and add more as needed, okay? So I just kind of add it to that prominent part of my cheek and then blend it up towards my temple. And I love Frenchie. It gives just like a nice peachy, warm flush to my cheeks. Okay, and then the last step is illuminator. I have a cream illuminator. This is Angel. It's just like a nice, subtle, everyday color. And I just place that along the high points of my cheekbone. And illuminator is meant to just give you this light catching glow, okay? So it's not a highlight, it's just like a little shimmer, and you can just place it anywhere you want to glow, really. I mean, some people place it on their foreheads, whatever. Okay, and then once that's done, I like to take my sponge and I just kind of press it all in. This is like the magic step that really, really brings everything together. I feel like this is what makes my makeup look like skin, is when I go in and I press it into my skin, okay? So we have that. You can see the difference here. Now I'm going to show you this side of my face with the dot method. So we're just going to use our fingers. You can also use a brush if you want to dot it on. I'm just going to use my fingers. So, and fingers give you more control too. So this is like a good way to try it if you're a beginner. So take the contour, and this is how I was saying, this is why I was saying earlier, if you struggle to feel like your contour is showing up on your skin, sometimes using your finger is really helpful because it warms up the product. So you're just gonna find that spot again where your natural shadow of your cheekbone is, top of your ear, imaginary line going down towards your mouth, and stop at your pupil, okay? So you're just gonna finger paint your face. And just remember a number 3. So on this side I did forehead, cheekbone, jawline, and we're gonna do the same thing over here. Forehead, cheekbone, jawline, okay? And then for the next color, we're gonna go into our main highlight shade. And if you have any like dark sunspots or rosacea or anything, then instead of applying your main highlight shade, you're gonna apply your camo shade to those troubled areas, okay? And you can just do these little dots. So try and kind of keep them like a little bit of space in between them. And this is really helpful because it kind of shows you like how much product to apply. So you don't want to be like globbing it on and like having like globs of product. You want to just do dots, okay? So just fill in with your main highlight dots everywhere that your contour isn't. I like to kind of get around my nose because that gets kind of like red, okay? And then for your pop highlight, take it in that inner tear duct. And there's also a guide for this method in your color match email. So I always send, it's a picture of my face and it has a template for your 4 basic 3D foundation tins. And this is exactly what I'm doing right here. So if you want like a printed out picture version to look at, then go to your color match email. And if you can't find it, just send me a message and I can send it to you. It's really helpful. It's like numbered and everything. Okay, so we have that on, and then you can either do your blush right now, your blush and your bronzer right now, or you can blend this out and then add your blush and bronzer. So I'm gonna show you how I would do it now, just to kind of show you like placement wise. So there I am putting my lip and cheek on the most prominent part of my cheek. And then I'm gonna go over to my bronzer. It's seriously so easy, like you can just finger paint and you can't really mess it up. Okay, so I'm just dipping into both and I'm getting some Bella and Glow. I'm just gonna hug my contour. So I'm just gonna kind of follow that contour and then kind of in this cheek area, just gonna like dot everything that's left on my finger, okay? So now we're ready to blend. It looks crazy, it looks overwhelming, but it's all gonna come together. And the way that I recommend you do this is you start with the lighter colors first, okay? So here we go. Lighter colors, and there's really no scientific thing to this. You're just gonna blend. I'm kind of like stippling, so I'm like pressing like this. That's what I'm doing on my face. But if you need to swirl, you can swirl. Okay, so you can see it's already blending in, and it should just really look like your skin. It should look really natural and skin-like, and that is a sign that you have the right color. Okay, and then for my jawline, I just blend it down, okay? And you can see it just gives me like more of a shadow here. And then for this under eye area, I like to kind of hug the side of my nose like this and then bring it down and like stipple down through the outer corner of my eye. You could also just use your finger if you wanted, or the perfector sponge works really great to blend underneath the eye. There's really no right way. And a lot of the times I use the small side of the detail brush, which I'm using the 3D brush for this video, but I really, really love the detail brush for contouring. As you can see, I use it a lot. But the 3D brush is great too, and that's what most people start with. So then I'm going with the lighter part of my 3D foundation up here on my forehead. Okay, so we got all the lighter parts blended out, and now we're just gonna go in, and I like to swirl with the darker colors, okay? So I'm just going in little circles, not big circles, just like little circles, okay? And if you have blemishes in your contour area, that's okay. You can blend in your contour and then spot treat those blemishes at the end. Okay, so I'm blending this in really good, but I'm also keeping the colors where I place them. So a lot of the times people over blend. That's why I'm saying don't use big circles. A lot of the times people erase their contour, and you don't want that because then you're just erasing all that work you just did. So make sure you can still see the contour, like you can see where you placed it, but obviously you don't want a line on your face. You just want it to look like a natural shadow. So this here looks like a natural shadow, okay? And then I'm just gonna like get into that inner corner, the other side of this brush. Okay, and we're all set. So both sides pretty much turned out the same. I mean, If you have done the dot method and at this point you feel like you want to go back in and add more coverage, you can just dip back in and kind of like add more highlight wherever you want. I seriously love how foolproof this makeup is. Like, doesn't really matter what order you applied in, okay? And then the last thing that we're gonna do is just add some illuminator so that I'm matching with the other side, okay? And just the tops of my cheekbones. This is where the sun naturally like reflects on your skin, is this high point of your cheekbone right here. And so just adding a little bit of illuminator makes such a pop and gives your face just like this amazing glow. Okay, so as you know, the lip and cheeks are also lip colors. So I'm just gonna take for my very last step, well, not very last step, but one of my last steps, I'm just gonna put some color on my lips here. Rub it in. Okay, so this is Frenchie. And then I like to take a little bit of illuminator and just put it right here on my Cupid's bow. Your Cupid's bow is this little top of your lip. I like to put a little bit right there. And then you can even put a little bit of the illuminator, if it's cream, you can put it like on the center of your lips, just for an extra pop. Okay, so that is it. Now we're gonna talk about setting your makeup. So make sure you blot out all your creases with the perfector sponge, okay? And if you have oily skin, or if you want a matte finish to your makeup, let's talk about that. So first of all, you're not gonna get a matte finish with this makeup on its own because it is a cream makeup. It's designed to look and feel like skin and have more of a dewy finish. So you're not going to get that on its own, but you can still achieve a pretty matte coverage or matte finish by using a loose translucent setting powder. So something like this is going to be really good. It is, oh, it's right here. So something like this, it doesn't really matter what kind of setting powder you use. There's lots of drugstore kinds that you can find for really cheap at Target or wherever. And you're just going to take a brush and kind of set heavily with that loose powder. I'm not going to do it because I don't have oily skin, but I'm just telling you that's what you would do if you wanted a matte finish. And I know lots of oily gals and ladies who live in super humid climates like Florida who all they need to do is just set with powder and they're good. If you have dry skin or if you want a dewy glow, a dewy finish to your makeup, then I recommend setting with setting spray, and that's what I do most of the time. So I have dry skin and I don't live in a humid climate, and my skin has adjusted to this cream makeup, which means since I've been using it for 2 years, obviously my skin has gotten used to the hydration that's in this cream foundation. So if you were previously using a liquid or a powder foundation, your skin is not used to the hydration that this cream makeup provides. So that doesn't mean you can't use this makeup. It just means that you need to wait 2 weeks before you completely count this out, okay? So after 2 weeks of using this makeup, your skin will adjust, and that's just a natural part of having skin. Anytime you're switching up the products, you're gonna have to just let your skin adjust. So after 2 weeks, if you're noticing like oiliness or things like that, it should go away after 2 weeks. But I have dry skin and my skin is adjusted to this makeup, so I don't really struggle with oiliness, and this makeup looks amazing, and it just kind of becomes one with my skin throughout the day and even looks better as the day goes on. So I just set with setting spray, and this locks it in all day. I just shake it and I make sure to hold it back like as far as my arm can go because it shoots out pretty powerful. So you're just gonna hold it back really far, make sure you shake it up and press it all the way down, okay? Make sure you close your eyes. And I do like 5 or 6 sprays. and you can see it goes on pretty heavy, okay? That is by design. It is meant to be like a generous spray. It's not a fine mist, and then you can just kind of work it into your hair and let that dry, okay? If you want to double up on your staying power of the makeup, you can actually set with setting spray, let it dry all the way completely dry, and then go in with either our vanilla dust setting powder, which is my favorite. Okay, sorry, we cut out there for a second. What I was saying was the vanilla dust setting powder is my absolute favorite, and you can just kind of blot that on in your T-zone or wherever you want. And then the last thing I like to do is just take a little bit of bronzer and just kind of use it to warm up my neck. And this is because our neck doesn't get a lot of sun most of the time, so this can kind of just make everything flow and look natural. Okay, so that is it. I hope that these tips were helpful, and I hope that this video just made you feel more confident and ready to nail this new makeup. So I want to hear from you if you're having any issues with it whatsoever. A lot of the times it's just kind of like that first couple weeks of figuring out how to apply creams, and then after that people absolutely love it. A lot of the times people absolutely love it their very first time of applying it. So if you're having issues, I want to hear from you and I want to help you. And if you're absolutely loving it and you nailed your first application, please send me a selfie, because I want to see that, and that would just make my day. So either way, let me know how it's going. I would also super appreciate it if you would take a picture or show yourself unboxing your Seint package and post on social media and tag me. Those are always so fun to see as well. So thank you for watching this, and I hope you absolutely love your makeup, and I know you will.